It worked. Well, look at that. It worked. Well, ain't that about right? Anyway, good morning to you. And what I was supposed to be doing, checking the weather forecast for today as well. So let me see what's going on with that little thing called the weather. It has been hot and hotter. Weather forecast. There we go. 80 degrees currently. Highs today near 92, so that's better. How about that? I can talk about 92 degrees being better, and Saturday looking even better at 91 degrees, but still hot. We see some cooler temperatures on Wednesday with highs near 85. Would be your lowest anticipated day. Again, lows for today at 75 degrees, and for Saturday at 73. But definitely a 92 day. And so what is it going to feel like? I have no earthly idea except to say it's going to feel hot. It's going to feel hot today. And so be mindful of that. No chance of rain in the forecast for today. We did have a couple of rain showers in the afternoons and the late nights and thunderstorms, all that good stuff. You don't expect to see that until Tuesday of next week, so we'll see what goes on there. Air quality at 74, so moderate air today. And the humidity at 84. So there you go. Okay. Oh, no, I say next anticipated rain on Sunday. Who knows with this weather forecast? Who knows? All I know is that I'm here. And pray the Lord for that, okay? Pray the Lord for that. You can do what I'm about to do right now, and that's sharing the Facebook Live video. Let me do that right now. There we go. And click Happy Friday. Because today is Friday, right? Yeah. Has it been disabled? Mm-hmm. So happy Friday to each and every one of you. Thank you again for tuning in. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to go to the Happy Hill Neighborhood Association meeting. That was at 6 p.m. at the Brazos Memorial Library. And so they talked about a couple of things. One thing they talked about was the crime in the community. And let me see if I have those numbers. Yeah, so March through June, they had a total of 5 violent crimes, 3 aggravated assaults, and 2 other things. I can't remember what the 2 things were. But Rocky Mount, in general, from March to June, only had 88 violent crimes. Now, you say only is like that's a good thing. And again, it's better than having 89. How about that? There are about 500 property crimes throughout the city between the same period, between March and June. 10 of those was in the Happy Hill community. Of those 10, 2 were commercial thefts. 7 larcenies, and then 1 motor vehicle theft there. So, of course, they were looking pretty good there in the Happy Hill community. Of course, Happy Hill Day is coming up, too, so they're getting ready for that as well. So, had an opportunity to be a part of their discussion, should I say. And one thing that they were talking about. What were they talking about yesterday? What were they talking about? Redevelopment. Oh, housing. Yeah, it was housing. It was, the questions about new development coming to the area, and will the people that's in the neighborhood get an opportunity to kind of locate to something new? And they talked about downtown payment assistance that is available, and through in part by gathering of resources, it was said that they have located potentially $115,000 in possible down payment assistance, and so using various resources, and so now a $200,000 house is now affordable, or a $150,000 house, or what have you, based on the available down payment assistance. I don't know why downtown is on mine. I guess because I'm downtown. But down payment assistance is available. And so that's an opportunity for that. And of course, you got to go through a couple of trainings or educational classes to be able to qualify. But it said a family income of 1, I think, could make annually, I think, $66,000 a year and qualify for the down payment assistance. And then I think if you had a family of four, income at $98,000, you would qualify as well. So there is opportunity there for people to be homeowners, for those who want to be homeowners. And what I will say is that there are people who just don't want to be homeowners. And I think sometimes we miss that, and I don't know, we miss that, and maybe look down on people who don't want to buy houses, or believe that renting is going to tear down a community and this, that, and third because of transit. You've got some renters who've been in places for years. You have communities in your Raleigh or your Durham or your Chapel Hill area, which is it could be 100% renter occupied, and it's not looking bad or this, that, and third. And even with transit folk, they ain't tearing up the stuff. And so I think oftentimes we do kind of turn a negative eye towards the ideal of individuals who choose to rent versus purchasing. And you say, well, if you rent, you can build equity in your home. And that is true. And you build it, to sell it later? Great. But again, remember, while you are paying property taxes while you're renting, you will say they built into your rental rate. You're not actually writing a check to the tax office for property taxes. You are paying them, but you're not kind of paying them in one lump sum. Whereas with home ownership, unless you got it mortgaged, your property taxes are collected on a one-shot basis, right? They're due, I believe, in September. Or they go out in September. One of them. No, they do January. Yeah, by January 1, they are due or be late. So, but there's pros and cons to home ownership versus rental. And again, it's either or. It's what works for you. And you take your potential home maintenance savings and all these other kind of things that you wouldn't do as being a renter of a home. And you can take that money, you can invest it in the stock market, you can invest in opening up a business, you can do a number of things to also establish wealth and create a revolving income versus the anticipated equity that you may have in a home. And again, as the home value goes up, your property taxes goes up. And so while you can finish paying that mortgage off and you say, hey, I no longer have that payment, you still will have if you live in the city of Rocky Mount, city taxes and county taxes. And if you live in the county, just county taxes. And then you will still have your regular maintenance cost with that situation. And depending on what type of rental situation you live in, if you're living in a townhome community, there's probably a HOA or something of that nature where you are not even responsible for your lawn care and cutting your grass. And so that is something that is provided by the homeowner association there. So it just depends on what type of neighborhood and housing choice that you're looking at or wanting to be a part of. But again, home ownership is great for those who want it. But I can, and this is one thing I was kind of thinking about too, is when you talk about home affordability and home ownership, you could get a person into a house with a whole bunch of down payment assistance. And when they're in that house, then the heating and air conditioning break, they don't have a warranty for it. That's out of pocket expense. Again, the maintenance costs on the thing, and then the property taxes associated with it. If you make the initial step affordable, but the income really still won't sustain the upkeep of that home or property, are you really creating a detriment to someone? And I guess I would say it depends, because if it lacks ongoing maintenance, yeah, they got that down payment assistance, but then the value of the house will suffer because it was not properly maintained. And so as I was hearing them talk yesterday, those are things that run through my mind. I guess just the way that my mind works. But I hope that in that class, since I haven't been through a class like that, and maybe I should go. It's an 8-hour class, and maybe I'll take one day and sit through it. The housing authority does it, but then the question is, in that class, are they teaching you to kind of save some money or whatever for the unexpected expenses? But of course, then you also have programs like the City of Rocky Mountain, and again, you wouldn't qualify for it if it's a new home, but maybe the urgent repair program, it may not require length of age of home, where they may be able to get some assistance. But again, those funds are limited. And so these are some things that we're thinking about as you anticipate whatever it is you're going to do as far as home ownership. But again, not knocking home ownership, not one bit, not knocking rental at one bit. I think housing at all shapes and sizes makes sense for whoever it is. As I was, again, talking to some of the folk that was there yesterday, I said, there's an ideal of wanting to build some one-bedroom homes in Rocky Mount. And then you got some people that sit around the table and say, we don't need that. We need 2, 3, 4-bedroom homes. And they said, look, there are people who live in homes right now that got 2 bedrooms and they're only using one. And so there would be and is a need for 1-bedroom, either home ownership opportunities or 1-bedroom rental situations. And whether we want it now or want it later, I do believe that there is, as Rocky Mount grows, because it is growing, despite what people may say, at least that's my, again, personal belief on it, and just looking at data points that I'm kind of gauged at by, we're going to have some property in Rocky Mount that's going to be dense. And when I talk about dense, I'm talking about the number of people who are able to live on a piece of soil. So when you go to again, I go back up the street to Raleigh and look at the number of people who are living in 5 and 6 and 7-story, maybe even 10-story buildings, the type of density that exists there. And one, you either can build improperly today and have to tear down and rebuild later, or you can think about models that would accommodate higher density in the future, and you'll be better prepared for it, but also better prepared for it by infrastructure needs and things of that nature as well. Let me see who's on a Facebook Live this morning. That is Deborah Gunter, Ray Daughtry, Miss Eileen, Andre Smiley, Allison Williams, Lucy Boyer, Reginald Manning, Gwendolyn Swain, Candy Staten, James Bullock, Venice Harris, Betty Jenkins, Alfreda Perkins, hey, homeownership is a lifetime investment in your future for those who want it. Sure, absolutely. I don't think we need many one-bedroom. You'll be surprised that, hey, caller, good morning. You're on the air, I think. Hey, caller, you're on the air. Yeah, that's the one. So let me make sure I got, let me just check something here. Yeah. All right. So the volume works there. All right. So, yeah. And again, so whatever floats folks' boats. But when you talk about younger generations who need a place to stay but don't need a lot of overhead type situation where they could just moving out the house or whatever, you generally see those dense populations with 1-bedroom homes where people are, hey, just needing their own space. And so sometimes beyond the fact that we tell, our youth to get out of here and don't look back type situation, some of them could appreciate, and others could appreciate those who might have been going to North Carolina Wesleyan College or even Nash and Edgecombe Community College could benefit from a 1-bedroom situation. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bronson. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are.
Oh, it is. Today is Friday.
It is. It is. And that means we got fish at Pops on Friday, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow. Don't even talk about it. You was talking about the down payment assistance program.
Mm-hmm.
When I purchased my first home, they had a program called Sweat Equity. And it just takes so much off your down payment, and pretty much you just do things that the contractor doesn't do or the builder doesn't do, like have to paint the inside of your home. And for me, it was doing the landscaping,
Okay.
which they did all the heavy-duty stuff like planting the shrubberies and everything like that. But that was a really good program for people who have a lack of excess, funding. So I was wondering if they still had that program to go along with what they're offering.
They may. I'm not sure, but they was talking about how much down payment assistance is there and available. Again, they was just talking about two $50,000 ones plus a $15,000 one bundled together. One could qualify up to $115,000 on a house, right? If you're buying a house for $170,000, you almost got the thing paid for, right? So yeah, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, that was a really good program, because if you get a good some friends over to help you do some things, it's done in less than a week. So I really appreciate it. Like I said, that was my first time buying a house back in the night. No, it was the second time I was buying a house, but the length of time that I had purchased the first house qualified me to get the second house under some of those programs. But nevertheless, it was excellent. And I encourage anybody to go into home ownership, especially with the price of rent nowadays. And thinking with the taxes going up, people that I know that rent out property saying that they have to increase their tenants' rent.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, it's a lot.
Absolutely.
And especially here in the Rocky Mount area, I know friends that's paying $1,100 and $1,200 a month for rent. You don't pay that kind of money for a mortgage. The average person doesn't, unless it's costing $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can afford that type of rent, you can afford a home. And like you said earlier, lots of people don't care to own homes, but those that really does take advantage of some of those programs that the government offer. And you'll see how easy it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have something to fall back on.
Absolutely.
And while I have you on the phone this morning, please allow me to elaborate about something from yesterday.
Okay.
Councilman Knight called in, and he alluded to the fact if I stayed out of the food bank lines, perhaps, and come to it, and go down to the city council meetings and some of the city of the whole meetings, I would know what I was talking about. Well, with modern technology, I don't have to show up. I can sit right at my home and see the same thing that's going on if I was in attendance downtown. I received several calls yesterday, and they wanted to know that Councilman Knight looked down on people who attend food banks. I told him I really don't know. I said, but it appeared that he does. No, I don't have the luxury of riding around in a Jaguar, smoking a cigar, and my light blue or pink suit. I do community work. And I don't go to the food pantry because I'm in need of food. I have plenty of food. I go to the grocery store, and, of course, I do go to food pantries. And some of the best that I've gone to is Abundant Life, St. James, and the one on Nashville Road. I forgot. It's hard for me to remember that name. But nevertheless, I do attend. And I do go there, not for myself, but if I see something that I like, I will pull it out. I have a neighbor. She's about my age. That lady is raising about 10 children in her household. I think they're her grandchildren. I go for her and other seniors in my neighborhood who cannot drive or who have medical problems, and I make sure that they're okay. So I also, yesterday when he said that, I thought about the lady up in Nashville that killed her granddaughter. And I felt that she was stressed out, and I thought about my neighbor next door. And I said to myself, I am her support system, and she doesn't even know it. She don't ask me to go, but I go, and I make sure that those children are taken care of. I do the best as I can, because we used to say it takes a village. We don't say that anymore. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about it is, when those children see me, even the ones, which is about 3 of them old that look like they're about 1 year old, they try to say my name. They'll say, they never get out hours. But nevertheless, I think they know that this is a safe place. And when I call them to say, come get the food, they say, Miss Alice, what do you have good for us this time? That makes me feel good. So if he is alluding to the fact that we are poor, it's not all about that. People go out and do mission work. He ought to know that. He's supposed to be a preacher. Why would he say something like that? But I ain't mad at him. I most certainly am not. But I just want y'all to know, just because you see someone in a food pantry line don't mean that they don't have. It means that perhaps they're going out and doing something for someone else. And for him to even allude to the fact that if I stayed out of a food bank, it didn't hurt me. It made me feel good because I knew what my mission was. So let him keep driving his Jaguar with his cigar in his mouth, with his white, blue, and pink on, and look down at people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 40 minutes past 8 o'clock hour this morning on Wncr-Tv Now as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. One thing that I didn't realize was going on in Edgecombe County is Fountain Correctional Institute, the old Fountain Prison, women's prison and training school, before that, I guess, is being torn down. It's being torn down. The National Guard, my understanding, is building a readiness facility there. And so that is some economic development happening in Edgecombe County that was kind of under the radar. So me being the nosy self that I am, I drove by there on yesterday and saw that, in fact, it is happening. And so the old Fountain Women's Prison that closed down in 2014 is no more. Of course, it's been closed for a number of years, obviously closed since 2014. But now even the structure that used to exist is no longer there. And it is my understanding that the National Guard is building a readiness facility there. They accepted some bids on that project back in 2014. And so that is something that Edgecombe County is getting for sure. And it's 100 acres. So I don't know what that bid. Well, I did download the RFP, request for bids, for the initial early phase, which is demolition and some other things. But I don't know if there's any, I haven't seen yet any documents that would say kind of what they're building. But when that comes out, obviously they will have the bids for that. But they are in the demolition phase right now. And so you see all of that going on right there in Rocky Mount, in Edgecombe County for that. And right at, if kind of don't know where the fountain is, it was near where the CSX intermodal is. So again, another project of investment in Edgecombe County as well. I want to say good morning, though, to Irma Maxwell, Deborah Manning, and Gloria Brake. Thank you for tuning in. Partis, thank you for tuning in as well. Greetings again. What some people don't realize is that you carry yourself with you. It doesn't matter where you go, and if you don't have any pride about yourself and their environment, some communities will look the way some of them look. Some communities will look the way they look based on a person's reflection of themselves. Sure. That much is true. And what HOAs do is complements the way a person may or may not feel about themselves and give them a requirement that it must look like this, or your grass must be kept, or your cars can't be parked a certain way, and whatever other little things that they do. And so that helps. But to your point, that's very valid, that people are conducive. Again, I read that again. What some people don't realize is that you carry yourself with you, and it doesn't matter where you go. And if you don't have any pride about yourself and their environment, some of our communities will look the way some of them look. And so, I guess years ago we talked about self-identity, knowing who you are, valuing yourself, and all that good stuff. And so that much is true. That much is true for sure. And so some stuff can be done just organically, and then some stuff maybe need to be done by compliance and strict compliance as to what the expectations are in particular communities. Again, as I was thinking about comprehensively what is going on in the city, over the years have done a number of corridor studies and looking at the major arteries in which folks come into the city. And so they do have done these corridor studies. And after they complete it, it seems like that's the end of the work. And so at some point too, they really have to focus on those corridors. I think Ms. Davis talked about yesterday, incomplete projects. And so, one of those, again, is what was the purpose behind the corridor study. So you did the Raleigh Boulevard one, and of course the name changed because you looked at it was Raleigh Street, Raleigh Road, and George Street. And so they made all that a continuation of just one name there. And then you had the Atlantic Avenue corridor study. I don't know if they what other one they might have did. Of course, you're gonna have Sunset Avenues, which is a major corridor as well. And so the thing is, after those studies were complete, then what was the next step? What was the next step in ensuring that, one, I think what you can do, keeping in conversation there, is an appearance ordinance, right? So you can go to, I don't know how many people have been to Cary lately or at all, in other cities too. You can go in particular areas of Cary, and basically they have dictated by ordinance what type of color scheme is going to be on a particular corridor. And there is synergy, if you want to call it that, synchronicity, if you want to call it that. There is sameness, okay? Whatever words you want to use. When it comes to particular areas in Cary, they are very deliberate on what their expectations are for developers in particular communities. And so there's consistency in the theme of what's behind those corridors and what it looks like in neighborhoods. I couldn't tell you. I don't be riding up everybody's neighborhood. But when you ride on the main arteries of places like that, you can see that they said, if you're going to come here, I don't care what your color scheme is for your business. If you want to locate that business here, it's going to look like this. And so, and then when you talk about shrubbery and trees and whatever else they put at various places, and it's probably a requirement that they can say your front has to look like this if you're on this street. It must be upkept. Those are some things that they do, or they may say you make the initial investment, the city maintain. I have no real idea how that works, but you do see all of that on your corridors in those areas. Now, again, what inner city Cary looks like, I have no earthly idea, but I'm sure they have something called inner city Cary as well, and maybe they don't. I don't know, but they're deliberate. And so I say all that to say that we have taken steps over the years to identify what our corridors look like, but then there wasn't any follow-up. Okay, now that you have paid for this information, you have this information, you can visually see this anyway, what is the next step? How we're planning on using this new tool that we now have? That is the ultimate question as people are riding in and out of town, from residents to visitors to what have you. That is important. Good morning also to Betty Archibald as well. Thank you for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now. So I can agree with wearing pajamas and pants and bonnets is a sad omen. So, that is where we are there. But again, just to keep people abreast as to what is going on, there is the readiness facility being built in Edgecombe County. So that's pretty good. Good morning also to Gwendolyn Johnson. Thank you for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now as well. Another thing locally that has some state impact is Governor Josh Stein has given or ordered the Order of Longleaf Pine to City Council member Reuben Blackwell. I guess it was here recently. I saw something on Facebook about that. Let me see if I can locate that. Okay, maybe this one or this one. Let me see. Yeah. So, Order of Longleaf Pine Society recipient, the highest civilian honor awarded by the governor's office for service to the community. So again, he was awarded that. So congratulations to him and that honor being bestowed upon him for his service to the community. And yesterday, those who might have been traveling up 64 might have saw fire trucks and things on the bridges, and they were there because they were bringing back the body of Jay Lyons, who was on a vacation and ended up dying. And so we keep that family in prayers. Services, I believe, is tomorrow for him as well. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. William. How are you?
Doing well. Hope you are.
I am, thank you. I want to talk about renters.
Okay.
It's nothing wrong with being a renter, but we have talked to some of the neighbors and so forth. They have this opinion that because we're renters, that we don't have a responsibility to maybe upkeep some of the premises they stand on.
Mm-hmm.
The property, like I moved in a house, they have a little picket fence, correct? And it was dirty, all run down, over the years. So I painted, and the neighbors come to me and told me, say, why are you painting that? You just helping the renter. I don't care about that. I love my environment. I like what I want. They gave me okay to paint it if I wanted to, within reason, of course, the color, But, and I'm just wanting to make it known that you, too, a renter, can make that place look presentable.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one talking about it, and they worrying about because they don't own the property. You live there. It's your home,
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something that could be discussed between the renter and the landlord.
Absolutely.
And if they agree to the term, and there's nothing wrong with you have to invest wherever you go, I am sick and tired of seeing these rundown places because of renters. I'm a renter myself, so I'm not talking about them, because I'm a renter.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever I go, that's what I do because I like a certain look for myself. It's uplifting for one. We don't teach about the property, they comment, but we're not teaching this to our children anymore. Your responsibility to upkeep. It's like someone putting their property in your hand to care for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to teach those values. Don't care where you live at. It's up to you to create your own environment as well.
Absolutely. Agree with you 100%.
Okay, then. But I appreciate this conversation and the information that to find it, but I'm up in age. I don't know. But homeowner at this time in my life is people for myself because of my age, But there's some good information.
Well, I appreciate you listening and calling in, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
252-407-8432. That's 252-407-8432. Yeah, I didn't talk about that arm of it, about, while you are renting, it is your responsibility to maintain that dwelling, as best as you possibly can. Of course, the large ticket items is the problem and responsibility of the owner. And again, this is for residential leases. Now, when you get into business renting, some things there's some stuff is kind of different. But sometimes in your rental agreements with homes, if you're staying in a multifamily situation, you don't have a water bill because it's shared water, and so you just have an electric bill. But those are some things that you do have to think about too, is maintaining that dwelling to ensure that when something small breaks, and so I ain't gonna worry about it. It ain't my house, and so we do sometimes have that thought process, and then we choose to live in a situation that we created the rundownness, if that should be a word, of our current house, because we say, hey, it's not our responsibility to fix it, and then nor do you even let the landlord know about it either. So then when you move out and landlord goes in, they're like, oh my God. And then the landlord is labeled a slumlord or this, that, and the third. But ultimately, a lot of those things or issues happen because of tenants that were in the home. And they didn't want to tell the landlord about it. And again, some stuff they may didn't want to tell the landlord about it in fear that the rent would go up or something of that nature. And then the other token on that is that landlords try to give tenants their privacy and not say, hey, let me schedule a walkthrough of the property. And those things are timely, and it takes time to do them. And then you want to give a person a sense of home. And so why would you want to walk through somebody's home? But you do have some offices that will do that. So that they can ensure that everything is still in tip-top shape. And so now I do know there is some landlords in our community that I believe the city needs to take a serious look at the operations of their residential property leasing or renting structure and the conditions of the homes in which people are living in, and what maintenance program that they have. And I think over the years, the city has been very non-involved, for lack of a better phrase, in identifying known habitual slumlords that exist within the community, because that is a factor here as well. And I do think that is something that we need to deal with, and deal with it with full force, to rectify some of the housing conditions that we have and don't allow things to become further deteriorated, which again hinders the view and image of communities. So I think that is very important. As I was in a meeting with the Southeast Rocky Mount community, and they was talking about the lack of respect that some landlords have for neighborhoods in which they're collecting rent out of. Good morning also to Jacqueline at Randolph and Alice Bailey. Good morning to you. Don't forget, today is Friday. It's Pop's Diner. We have fish. We have tilapia for sure. I don't know what else is there. And we've got some hamburger and gravy, hamburger steak and gravy there as well. And what else are we? Of course, pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers, spaghetti, you name it. And we have these Philly cheesesteaks, or steak hoagies, whatever you want to call them. That's now on the menu as well, right there at Pop's Diner. Can't forget about our chicken. So chicken is available. Oh, we've got leg quarters available, baked leg quarters today at Pop's Diner as well. So go by and check them out today. And I tell you, that mac and cheese is good. And of course, on Sunday, it's our Soul Food Sunday. So we have turkey wings, oxtails. What else do we have on Sundays? Fish, and all the other stuff that we have on Sundays. Again, open Sunday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Be sure to bring your family, friends, and everybody else, and go have lunch or dinner with your enemy as well. Maybe y'all can be friends and get to know each other that the more. So look forward to seeing you there. I understand that some people have been calling DoorDash wanting us to get on their menu, or we do Uber Eats, and so maybe we'll look at DoorDash as well. But we definitely provide Uber Eats, and so I don't know why people prefer DoorDash over Uber Eats. So I did Uber Eats first, and now I think people are calling DoorDash platform asking about it. At least that's what they can't come by and tell us often, that people are trying to find us on DoorDash and we're not there, and that much is true. That much is true. So what else is happening in our communities? I don't know if any community events are going on this weekend. If you do know of any, definitely put them on the Facebook page or YouTube page, or call in now at 252-407-8432 to talk about those. But I don't, at the top of my head, I cannot think about anything that is going on this weekend in the community, but I'm sure something is, and even if it's church on Sunday. In fact, I invite all of you out to the Cedar Grove Missionary Baptist Church, located 2932 South Halifax Road in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Services at 9 a.m. And so it's a no excuse service where if you have a 11 a.m. service, you can get Jesus twice. How about that? So you're invited to the Cedar Grove Missionary Baptist Church out in the Little Eastonburg community at 2932 South Halifax Road. Again, services beginning at 9 a.m. And one of our members turned 93 years old, and so we celebrated her birthday the other day. Miss Janie Sharp went by to see her as well. It's good to have that longevity. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, Bronson. How are you doing?
Doing well. Hope you are.
Oh, yeah, doing good. I know you just mentioned about any community events, and it popped in my head, so I wanted to share. This Saturday at the Church of the Nazarene on Honey Hill Road, the youth ministry is doing a car wash to raise money for our summer camps, our teen summer camp that we have coming up this summer. And it's all donation based. So if whatever anybody, just, whatever God lays on your heart that you would want to give, or, and if you can't afford to give, we're still going to love and wash your car just the same. So, but I did just want to let the community know that you'll probably see a lot of cars out there and a lot of teens out there on the corner of Funny Hill Road. And if you want to just bring your car by and let us love you and show some love, then we would love to have you.
Good deal. I may stop by and get my car washed.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, brother. You take care. And I stand corrected. This Sunday is Fifth Sunday, so we don't have service at Cedar Grove on Fifth Sundays. It's first through fourth. So this Sunday is Fifth Sunday, so we will not have services this Sunday. I don't know why I thought this Sunday was fourth Sunday, but that was last Sunday. So no service this Sunday at Cedar Grove, and so I definitely go somewhere to a church that's having Fifth Sunday service. For those who plan to attend. I did just have online a Summer Night Lights, it looks like. Yep, there it is. Today's the 27th, right? So Summer Night Lights has kicked off again this year. And so that is free recreation activities all summer long. Food is provided to the first 200 people. It started on June the 6th. It was at Eastern Avenue Park. June the 13th was Three Sisters Park. June the 23rd is going to be June the 23rd. June 27th, which is today, is at being Holloman Park on Star Street. The 11th is going to July the 11th is Martin Luther King Park. July 18th is Marigold Park. July 25th is the Buck Leonard Park. On August the 1st is Holly Street Park. August the 8th is Sunset Park. Free entry. Special Populations Day. Touch in a truck, free entry. And then on August the 15th is the South Rocky Mount Community Center as Team Motivations back to school book bag giveaway as well. So at those events, it's free food, music, field games, and family fun. It's from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m., weather permitting, is where it is. So again, that's Summer Night Lights program. That program also used to take place at the Brent Street Park, and they obviously don't have that this year. I don't think they had it last year either, but I do remember one year I saw a flyer and they didn't have it, and I went and advocated for the thing to be at Brant Street Park. And at that time, Kevin Ariel, who was the director of Parks and Rec, made that happen or said it was oversight or whatever happened. And there were so many kids out there that year that when they had that Brant Street Park, when they neglected to do it. Hey, caller, good morning.
Well, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, Miss Alice Bailey.
Yeah, still enjoying the program. We just check in. Thank you for all the information that you share. But starting Sunday, Redbud Holiness Church will start their annual convocation, and it will start with a gospel concert on Sunday. I think it's at 6 o'clock, and then they will have service all through the week. So make your way and come on out and enjoy different speakers each night. Pastor Green will be there on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for letting us know about that as well.
Okay, but you take care. Y'all enjoy the weekend and be safe.
Absolutely. And stay cool, right? Thank you much.
Stay cool. Stay cool. Yes.
Appreciate you. As Alice Bailey been on television, so you can recognize her voice. MC'd a lot of programs from gospel events all throughout the years, and so a very familiar voice for sure. You're so right about some of these landlords. They should be held to the same law as renters. If they're not keeping with their property, the city should file charges against these landlords. And, that's something that we really, again, need to work completely hard. I think some of the fear is, and what it will look like is you say, well, this landlord is doing it. So my thought to that is you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And so you got to pick that somewhere, and whether you put them in a jelly bean bowl and what if yellow's going to be this neighborhood or black's going to be this, and that's the neighborhood you start with. And so you're not saying you're targeting things, but sometimes you just got to. Hey, caller, good morning.
Mr. Bronson, do churches still have vacation Bible school?
Some churches do, absolutely. I saw VBS on a marquee not too long ago. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you normally see signs everywhere, but I haven't seen it, and that's why I asked the question. And the car wash at the Church of the Nazarene on Saturday, is it donation or a set price?
He said donations. He said if you don't give them that, they'll still wash your car.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. He said, hey, if you don't, just let them love on you and wash your car. So I said, let me go through there and see what's going on. Might go through there. But yeah, so that's that. But hopefully they'll start working on some of those landlord situations in our community and be very intentional about those things. Again, just recapping what we talked about today, made mention of the National Guard Readiness Training Facility there at the old Fountain Correction right now. They're in demolition phase for that, and so you see all of that going on there. I got to talk to Miss Maggie yesterday, who worked for Fountain Correctional, and talked about the asbestos that they had found that it was causing cancer for many of the inmates and guards, for that matter. And so they're getting rid of that situation, I guess, asbestos remediation and all that good stuff too. It's amazing what people used back in the day that thought it was good, and you use what you think you got, right? And so what is good for that particular time, and then you kind of find out that those things weren't it. And I'm sure there are things that we're doing right now as a community, as a society, that we believe is good in the moment. And there's going to be those future generations that be like, nope, they really shouldn't have had those cell phones to the ear because it causes this or causes that. And so even those devices should all be talk-free types, that your hands-free, ear-free, and every kind of free there. Or back to the regular, not wireless, but actually wired earbuds. And so therefore you're not having that stuff going into your head. And so those are some things I'm sure we're going to see some commercials. Have you been impacted by da-da-da-da-da-da? Call in for your claim today. So, I think that's probably going to happen. Yep, for sure. And what else we talk about today? What else did I talk about? Oh, I talked about the Happy Hill neighborhood and the housing situation for renters and homeowners, and again, let's not belittle people because they're renters, and let's not think it's a problem. I guess some people are gonna say, hey, it's a problem that 100% of your town or only 30% of your city is homeowners. That's what people choose to do because obviously there are properties that exist in which people could facilitate the purchase for. But everybody's not going to want to walk in your lane, walk in your faith, or walk in what you think is right. They're going to do what feels right to them. And again, I remember one of my classmates from high school said, Bronson, if everybody was the same, life would be boring. We would be like robots. And still remember that yet to this day. It's crazy how the brain works, how you can kind of, certain triggers will bring on stuff. Good morning also to Evelyn Johnson. Thank you for tuning in. In fact, there is a redistricting meeting for Edgecombe County Public School Systems. I went to the one at D.S. Johnson School on the 24th, and they have a final one. And let me see if I can see when that date is for the final one, or has it already taken place? And I'm just behind here. No, so the final one is this upcoming Monday, June the 30th, and that's going to be at Southwest Edgecombe. That will be the final. They had 4 different ones in which people were advocating for, by and large, in fact, 100%, at least that I heard at D.S. Johnson Elementary School, was that the district would choose option C over option D2. And we talked about what those differences were within the school system. And again, what this will also do is create an opportunity for East Rocky Mount, that was formerly in the Nash Rocky Mount school system, now to have elected representation. In that right now, it really has no elected representation, because while the schools and the children of that area goes there are no electoral boundaries or districts drawn that have been adopted and approved. And so therefore, essentially, there is no elected representation for some of East Rocky Mount, not all of East Rocky Mount. And so that was some of the argument that people made, that some children who live in the city still went to Edgecombe County schools. And so it created inequity that some children went to Nash and the others went to Edgecombe. And so that was unfair. And so ultimately they did what they did with the demerger situation. Another piece, we'll talk about this, just came to me, that TDA bill, which allowed Rocky Mount to have his own tourism authority, has not moved in the Senate and will probably not move in the month of June, in which it made it July 1st date to be the date it would be effective. The North Carolina Senate has not picked that bill up out of the committee to move it forward to a vote to the floor. And so thusly, we're still standing there. That would provide Rocky Mount to have his own tourism authority. Right now, the tourism authority is Nash County, and and Rocky Mount has to get approval from Nash County as to how to spend the 2-cent occupancy tax that is collected from them or collected by them for the sole benefit of Rocky Mount. However, it's for the sole benefit of Nash County Rocky Mount, and the new TDA would give Rocky Mount the authority to spend its TDA money how it chooses for the advancement of tourism within the city limits of Rocky Mount. And so that is what's at the table, and why it is not brought up in the Senate is beyond me. It seems to me it's a very simple local bill that makes 100% sense. It does also take that elected officials can't serve on that board. And so those are a couple of things, but based on the committee, I don't know when and if they're going to take that up, but hopefully they will. And the car wash is from 9 to 2 on Saturday morning is when the car wash is at the Church of Nazarene over there on Hunter Hill Road. So it looks like I've pretty much said enough. We got announcements out the way, and now if all hearts and minds are clear on this morning, we thank you so much for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now. I think there was one more thing I was going to mention after I mentioned the last thing there, because 2 things that popped in my head about something that was going on in Rocky Mount. And then I saw the car wash. Anyway, Anyway, that's what it is. So we'll see you on Monday morning to do it all over again on WNCR-TV Now. Be sure to be nice to your neighbor. And God bless you.